Hello, everybody. Welcome back to your instant match reaction. Burnley nil, Leeds United nil. I don't really have that much to say about that. So let's go on the positives. Leeds didn't lose. Leeds still haven't lost their fourth game of the season, which is good. We've drawn another game. We didn't score in that one, which has been a first for Leeds United. Ampadu doesn't look happy. Farke does look pretty happy with the draw, and I think that was pretty obvious how we set out to win to play that game. The tempo was dull. I think there was a bit of a press from Burnley, which I think inhibited Leeds from properly building up from the back. Naturally, I think it's a little bit negative on that left-hand side as well, with sort of Ampadu veering over to that left-hand side, and obviously Byram. So some analysis, I will say that the build-up was inhibited a little bit. It was a little bit slow. It was a little bit lethargic. But Farke came for the draw. I think, look, you saw Aronson still remain on the pitch somehow after being, I didn't even notice who's playing. Peru, exact same. Joseph and Ramazani, were they on for long enough to do anything? I mean, Joseph didn't touch the ball really. And look, when it's not a fact of when it's Peru and then when it's Joseph, it's two different narratives. Of course, it's not. But obviously Peru had a little bit more time to get himself involved in the game than Joseph did. I thought Ramazani, damn, he didn't even get the ball. We didn't really go down the left-hand side even when he came on. It was just the ball in the air. I mean, the ball just was going like that, head, and it became a game of second balls, winning the second ball. So yeah, Leeds. I thought Burnley were a little bit quicker at building up. I will say that. I thought Leeds were maybe a little bit slower in build up. But yeah, it was probably the worst game of football. My top three, probably worst games of football I've ever seen. I don't think a team I think we conjured up a shot on target in the second half. Farke seems happy with it. I think we had enough there to win. I don't think they're great. They're not a great football inside. But I guess Sunderland have drawn there. We've drawn there now, which it is what it is. I think you're just going to get these with Farke sides, aren't you? That just with Parker and Farke sides. So yeah, guys, I need help. I need help from that. Let's have a look at some statistics. Has Liam sent me some statistics? Let's have a quick look. I don't think he has. Has he? No. Fair enough, Liam. Normally, my graphic designer sends me stuff at the end of a game. I'm not surprised he didn't there. Guys, help me out here. Get in the chat. We're doing the fan forum at the at 10:30, and we can get onto that. But I'm just going to get onto FootMob now and just have a look at the game and how that actually transpired, because that was genuinely the worst game of football, or one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. So we're just going to share this now. Get your thoughts in the comment section below as well. Tell me some positives. I mean, we're top of the table, obviously, which is great. So this is the momentum bar. So if you care about a momentum bar, Leeds won the momentum bar, I guess, which is good. I mean, that is just atrocious, isn't it? I mean, look at that. No big chances throughout the entire game. Just to put this into context, Leeds pretty much create like 3 or 4 of these per game. Total shots, Leeds had the most shot. We had the highest XG. I think a lot of that was conjured by Jayden Bogle. 56% of the possession. Brodon got man of the match. Obviously, I thought Egan Riley was all right, to be honest. Stev did well. Humphries, I thought, was decent for them. I think the most likely player for us to score was Bogle, but look at the inefficiency here. And you can just tell that Solomon was completely off it. And in all fairness, their efficiency wasn't great going forward, but this guy was just a ghost again. Aronson was nowhere to be seen. Solomon was poor, I thought, today. I can't believe he got a 6-9. Anthony for them was better than Solomon for me. Zian Fleming, I can't believe he only got 0.1 more than Peru. At least he had 2 headers on goal. Lyle Foster was nowhere in it, but it was a game between the midfield, really, and the defence. So, friggin' hell, guys, you let me know what's happened. Come on, we'll get into some comments. Yeah, bored. Firpo hasn't signed a contract either. My guess is Farke. Don't like him, so won't play him. That game just cured insomnia. Is it over? If some of you weren't watching, for the game, we were actually reading John Grisham's The Firm. We were also playing jumpers for goalpost. It was that boring, which I've never had to do on a watch along. Another game close to the end of the season, top of the league, and that is true, Dazza. That is true. Let's have a quick look at the division now. It's not as I just thought we could have won that game, so I'm a little bit disappointed, but it doesn't feel like this lot lose. I mean, they don't lose games. They've lost the least amount of games. But it was terrible against Sunderland when they played against Sunderland as well. But once again, Burnley not conceding anything and have still conceded 9 goals. I don't think they're ever going to concede a goal ever again. So yeah, at least we know between us two, it's going to be a better game. At least we know between us and them, it's going to be a better game. And us and Sunderland, it's going to be a much better game as well. So that's something at least the football gods will bestow on us. But yeah, awful game. I just thought we could have got at least a 60, what would it have been, 62 there. A bit of gap between us and Burnley, 5 points, that would have been 6 points, that would have been nice. But it wasn't to be, was it? So like you said, we haven't lost the game. It is just, I mean, we've gained a point, I guess, on Sheffield United. I mean, we've got Cardiff next. I just think with the amount of, let's have a look at their games. I mean, we'll have to look at Burnley's as well. But if we just look at their games in particular, I mean, you can't. I mean, when you lose the whole 3-0, you can't say any game's a guarantee. But Derby, Portsmouth, I think Borough's going to be tough for them. Luton, I don't think that'll ever be easy. Then us, QPR won't be easy. But then you kind of look at what Burnley's. Let's have a quick look at Burnley's fixture list as well. Burnley's, I think, is quite decent. And obviously, they just don't concede goals. And we've just figured that one out for ourselves. Pompey away, Oxford. Southampton in the cup, Hull, which might be a bit of a tougher game than at first expected, Preston. But a lot of these are easier games, I think, for Burnley. So Burnley is still going to be dangerous. And for us, that's why I kind of wanted us to gain a little bit of momentum there. But we have a look at our fixtures, Leeds' fixtures. And then obviously Cardiff's good for us. Cov, they've won 4 on the bounce, haven't they? Watford, they're in a bit of a dire strait now. So hopefully we can go down there and do something. Tough game. So, yeah, we definitely have the hardest month, and that's kind of why I'm a little bit disappointed, because although it's not a loss, and although we're still top of the division, I'd have liked a little bit of distance between us, to be honest, if I'm being brutal here. I just think with the 2 teams in around us, and I think Sunderland have got some decent games coming up as well. But I would have liked Leeds to, obviously we'd have all liked Leeds to win that game. But I felt we could have won that game if we went in with a little bit of a different idea. I think Firpo coming on, Rothwell. You had so many attacking options off the bench. And I think he didn't make those changes quickly enough. And I think you saw how I thought he was pretty buzzing at the end. He's smiling as soon as that full-time whistle's gone, Farke. And I think he went there for a draw. I said it pre-game. I said, if he starts with Byram, Gruev, Peru, Aronson, no rotation there, I think he's going to go for a draw. And we were saying it on the Watchalong. If you guys are just joining it here, as we said on the Watchalong, he went for a point. So it felt very Norwich in the playoff semis. So let's get into some of your comments. Sam backwards, not Byram. Aronson and Peru, awful. I'd like to see Matteo in the next game. There's no point, though, because we kind of just come across this all the time. So now, because Joseph's been on, even though the game state's completely different, Peru's had 75 minutes again. Bear in mind, Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich as well. And he's just non-existent. And this is where I struggle as a Leeds fan, because I'm even the hustle and bustle, I would prefer just to nothing. To nothing. No. It's hard for me to comprehend in my head how some Leeds fans just want him to start every single game. No questions asked. When there's performances the last sort of 3. I just don't understand that. Aronson again, yeah. I'm going, but then it'll be the fact that Ramazani came on and didn't do anything. That is then, even though the game state is what it is, and the other players have had 90% of 70, 80% of the game to improve things and get involved in the game, they haven't. I actually thought, if I'm being ultra critical, some of the players were hiding from possession today. That's if I'm being ultra critical. But yeah, God, that was a rough one. Get me a number 10 in a striker. Never been so bored. Good night for the Blades and nothing to be scared of. Still think it's Leeds is to lose. All of the 4 I've dropped points. Shout out to Carl, who's become a new member, by the way. Sky moved that game from a Saturday to a Monday night. Good idea, Sky. Well done. Yeah, gift as well. Danny Cook's gifted a 1 Leeds membership. Shout out to you, Danny. Thanks, buddy. Same as WBA. Yeah, that's a good shout. Oi, yeah, it's the same, innit? It's the same game as that, bud. It's the same game. The left-hand side is nothing with Byram there. I just don't see how Firpo stays on the bench all game. It's because he can't, like, Byram, I was saying this in the Watchalong, like a lot of people are upset at what I say about Byram. I think I'm the only content creator who mentions it, but he just stifles us in build-up. He stifles us in build-up. And defensively, is there an argument he's better than Firpo? Yeah, although I think let's not forget how good Firpo's been this year in terms of when he's pressing his man, how aggressive he is. But in build-up, so the Norwich is case in point. The Norwich game was case in point. How much better Firpo is, and it's just the variation he gives. He can open his body, he can close his body because he's a left-footed player and he's better in build-up, and he'd have helped Solomon there on an overlap. But Farke didn't go to win that game. He didn't go to win that game. Nothing will convince me of that. And if he wanted to win the game, well, obviously he'd want to win the game. That'd be great. But he wasn't willing to risk it. So he wasn't willing to put like a Firpo on, who we know is more of a wing back as opposed to a fullback. He wasn't willing to do that. So he wanted to be a little bit more conservative. And it felt like he was more trying to sort of iron out Burnley's threat instead of really inputting our threat onto the game. Like almost like, we'll go back to the great one as always, but how Bielsa, for example, would have attacked that game. We imprint our philosophy, our style on Burnley. We go and attack them where we've scored the most goals in the division, most big chances, most XG, most general chances as well, not just big chances. The general amount of chances we've created, conjured at this level has been more than any. So I'm a little bit disappointed that Daniel Farke, I predicted all of this pre-game, but I'm just a little bit disappointed he's not gone to that Burnley side. Who weren't great. They're not great. We've got more talent than they have, I feel, on the pitch. More players who can conjure something up. I'm just disappointed that he's not gone there. And at least even at half time, and he's never going to do it. We know what he's like. But, put Firpo on, get Gruev off or even Tanaka. I don't think Tanaka played well at all today. So at least, bring Tanaka off for Rothwell, who at least is going to drive at the heart of Burnley. And he's good at protecting the ball. He's a good ball carrier. Bring Firpo on so you can almost have a little bit of a link of Rothwell passing that ball over to the left-hand side and hitting Firpo and Solomon. That had probably evaded Solomon's game a little bit as well, because anytime Solomon went forward, he was just faced with Connor Roberts and Jaden Anthony. That was it. So it was Solomon versus Jaden Anthony because there was no overlap. So he's having to go back. Then what they do is funnel Leeds out wide. They pack their box. Brownhill comes back. Laurent comes back. Cullen comes back on the defender's toes. Ball, kind of came into the box every now and again, but it comes into the box and it's just cleared. And that's it. And then it's lateral. Burnley push out a little bit. They push out a little bit. Leeds go all the way back to melee. And it just recycles like that. And then it becomes a game of second balls. It was a hideous, hideous game of football. Worst official in years. Burnley are, they are, mate. Firpo, Ramazani, Joseph have to come in now. Hugo says we should have won that. Best squad in the league by miles, came for a point. Embarrassing. Clear penalty. I disagree, Jace. I don't think it was a clear penalty, to be honest. SAFC did a number on Burnley and couldn't score in a brothel. Leeds and Burnley played the worst game of footy I've ever seen in quite a while. Just horrendous. Ross says, I think we need to change the debate from who offers less, Perot or Joseph. It's not a case of who is better. Football philosophy is exactly why Farke will never be held in the same regard as Bielsa. That was atrocious. Should have shook hands before the game and saved the travelling fans the money. Pete says they were too scared of playing in our half. It was always going to be a 0-0. Melee played well, didn't concede. Tim, but let's talk about the free kick, mate, of which it was played in, mate, and he came out, didn't he? He came out to try and claim it and then thought, oh shit, I'm far away from it. And then tried to get back into his goal and nearly tripped over his leading foot. So he came to claim the ball. Melee, if there'd have been someone at the back post, which you get on free kicks someone who was ghost at the back post, it'd have been 1-0 Burnley there. Because Melee came all the way out to try claim it, then So when we're talking about decision making, everybody, handling, just confidence in himself, experience. Bearing in mind he's played over like 200 games, comes out to try claim it, sees deer in the headlights. Oh no, need to go back, and nearly trips himself up going backwards. And that was literally, if there's someone at the back post, it's 1-0 Burnley, and it's a Melee howler again. So Thank God there was no one at the back post, guys. That's all I'll say. Joe Rothwell is miles better than Eli Grimm. Yeah, technically, he's miles ahead of him. Miles ahead. But yeah, that's the standard. On a positive of that, we don't have to watch it again, mate. That's my big positive. That was two teams that both wanted to draw. I'd agree, Johnny. I think you're right. Nonto and Ramazani on together. Yeah, Nonto not getting on again, or not like featuring. What happened to Leeds 3 or 4 at Glyn? I know. Look, I know the fan base are ambitious, but me and Liam were speaking off there. Liam sent me a message. Visa, who we had on the channel, and a lot of you guys were hammering Liam, and you were like, "It's never going to be that. It's never going to be that. He doesn't know what he's talking about," and he was spot on. He just said to me, he sent me a text saying, "Told you this will be shit." And I just put, "It's awful." And he put, "Scott Parker football, mate. We do this with everyone." And I just went, "It's poor to watch, isn't it?" So it's not just putting it on Burnley, because Burnley enact a game plan. But let me just read Burnley's results, guys. I've read this out in the watch-along. Just listen to this, right? This is mad. And this is what Liam said to me. He's like, I'd rarely watch. I'll go to the cinema. So listen to some of these. This is, and to be fair, Burnley are where they are. Fair play, but it must be difficult to watch. So 1-0 loss at Sunderland, 1-0 win at Leeds, 1-1 against Blackburn, 0-0 Oxford, 1-0 against Plymouth, they won, 0-0 against Preston, 1-1 against Hull, 0-0 against QPR, 1-0 loss against Millwall, 0-0 against West Brom, 1-0 against Swansea, 1-0 win against Bristol City, 1-1 against Borough, 0-0 against Derby, 0-0 against Stoke, 0-0 against Middlesbrough, 0-1 against Blackburn, 0-0 against Leeds. That is staggering. Like, fair frigging play to him, but good Lord. Like, yeah, I mean, we just couldn't break through them. Fair play to him. I mean, the onus is on us, obviously. So, yeah, is what it is. Only positive is that we'd have taken a draw before kickoff. I didn't expect them to beat us, mate. But towards the end of it, I actually thought in the second half, their tempo was a little bit better than ours. We came into it a little bit like in the second half of the second half, if that makes sense. But I actually thought their tempo was better than ours. They were getting forward. I told you about our gameplay. It was Melee, Rodon, Ampadu. They press a little bit higher. We tried Gruev. I didn't think showed for the ball enough. I thought he hid a little bit tonight, which was annoying. I thought he started the game well, but I thought he hid. I thought Aronson was hiding for the ball as well a little bit tonight, to be honest with you, which was frustrating me. Tanaka wasn't good on the ball at all as well. But I think a lot of that is down to Burnley's really good press and physicality and athleticism with Lauren and Brownhill and Cullen in that midfield. But the overarching thing I've taken from that is worst case scenarios. The worst case scenario for us right now, guys, is Sunderland and Sheffield United getting that top 2. Horrific, because we ain't going up with them in there. I'm telling you, no chance. If we play them, it's Southampton rerun, because they're just going to get a crappy goal, and we're going to be completely stifled. We do not want them. The Wigan controlled the match in fairness. Awful game. Yeah, you guys are just hitting the same note. Tanaka good again. I'd disagree, Rune. I didn't think he was good. I didn't think he was good today. Farke angers me way more than he should. Good point today. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not a bad point. It's not. I think this is what I've read out, guys. When I'm looking at their fixture list, I'm looking at Sheffield United and I'm looking at Sunderland, right? And I'm looking at their fixture list, and then I'm looking at ours for the next month. And we've got Coventry away, and they're winning every game at the moment. We should be winning that game, of course. They're winning every game. We know it's Lampard, isn't it? We've then got Watford away, which is a tough game. I don't care what anyone says. 4th best home record in the division. I know they've been poor of late, but we should be winning it down there. We should. But yeah, Watford's not great, is it, away from home? And then we have Sheffield United away and Sunderland at home and West Brom at home. That is a tough run. Obviously, we've got Cardiff at the weekend, which we can't look past because they've started getting into a little bit of form, haven't they? Boyd as well a little bit by that Swansea win. But our run is definitely the toughest out of Burnley and Sheffield United, which is why tonight I thought there was a real opportunity with Burnley not scoring that many goals. I know they did against Plymouth, but it's the first time they've scored more than 2 goals since August against Plymouth, and Plymouth have been that bad that, there we go. But yeah, I think the other two have a lot more favourable games over the next 5 and 6, and that's why tonight when I look long term, I think we should, I think we needed to win this game a little bit tonight. I think a point's all right. Point's not bad. It's not the worst result. I think we needed to win the game a little bit tonight. I think we did. Bruce starts me. I feel more confident with him, but he's not in the game, Reese. Yeah, this is not 0%, by the way, everyone. And Reese, this is why I don't get it. There is just an automatic, yeah, but Prue starts. And I'm like, wow, okay. Even after that, even after like Norwich and Sheff Wednesday, it's just blanket. He starts every game. It's like there's not even a question anymore. I don't know. I find that a bit crazy, to be honest. Rigger says, good point in the end. Burnley, in my opinion, will be our biggest challenges towards the end of the season. Bogle's got 8 yellow cards. Time to be really careful. 10, and he misses 3 games. Yeah, that's a really good point, Rajiv. Really good point. We're still top of the league, Leeds. Yeah, we are. We are. No, yeah. Anyway, I was trying to contextualize that, Chris, where I'm like, look at the fixtures. Like, so it's not about being negative, mate. It's not about being. I said before the game. I said before the game, I'd have taken that. I'd have taken that. But yeah, I didn't think they were great today. I thought, yeah, and I'm kind of where Simpson Bala is now. I just don't think. I agree, man. I just don't think we've got it in us. I don't know if we're going to pull away. It feels like anyone can win this league. I think anyone can win it. I just don't think. I don't trust Leeds at any point to pull away. I think we've had so many opportunities now to pull away, and and it's a 0-0. It's great. It's okay. It's not great. It's all right. But yeah, I don't know. Something in me is just not. I'm just not happy with us going there for a point. Sheffield lose 3-0, and you think it's capitalise and move away 3-0. Yeah. I guess you've got to put a little bit more respect on Burnley's name. Positive from Leeds, we've kept both Sheff and Burnley to 0 shots in the last 2 games against them. That's true, mate. That's true. 6 points clear. Never mind. Burnley good in defence, exceptionally good. Dave says Burnley played their game. He was too scared to lose, take the point and move on. Yeah. Cheers for the donation, FFS. In other news, Corbran knows how Gary Neville felt. Yeah, as he lost again as well. Let's have a look. Rajiv says 7 games in the next 4 weeks. It's going to be a brutal period. Yeah, let's have a look as well, guys, because I know some of you guys will need that visualization, which is cool. But this is kind of what I'm a little bit nervy about. Not nervy as such, but this is what I'm a little bit perturbed about. So you just look at these games for Burnley in particular, bearing in mind they're like, 3 points off us. And, and we'll pivot as well to Sheffield United's fixtures, and then Leeds', and then obviously we'll have a look at, obviously Sunderland, we're just going to miss out just for this one, because obviously, I know Sunderland is still dangerous, by the way. I'm just very much looking at the teams in and around Leeds right now. But we'll just have a quick look at the fixtures. So yeah, let's have a quick look at Burnley. This is what I'm talking about here. So Pompey, Oxford, Southampton in the Cup. And look at the games as well. They've got games coming up real thick and fast, really. But Burnley, Hull, Preston, Sheff Wednesday, Cardiff, and Luton. Now, reversed fixtures. I think Burnley did pretty well in all of these games. So it gets a little bit tougher here for them. A little bit tougher, but it's more toward the end of the season with Burnley. I think probably these are going to be tough games from at the end of the season. Norwich hopefully have improved then as well. So these last 6 aren't great for Burnley, and Coventry in there as well. But their next games are pretty decent, I feel. These are pretty decent games. Now, if we just have a quick look at Sheffield United's as well. And it's just the importance of this game tonight, I think, where I thought we should have gone and tried to at least win the game. But Sheffield United have got a tough one at Borough. This is where we have to do something here. We have to do something. We have to take 3 points off them. Hopefully Luton have got a bit of a run with Bloomfield here as well. Hopefully Matt Bloomfield's got them rocking a little bit. QPR won't be easy. So I think, and they've got Wednesday coming up as well. So, and Coventry there. So they've not got a ridiculously easy run, but I'd say it's a better run than what Leeds have got. Let's just pivot to what Leeds are on now. So this is what I mean, guys. It's not about negativity. It's just about the next coming months, of which I'm a little bit like it's forcing Leeds to really win the games, these sort of tougher games. So Cardiff, which I think hopefully will be a bit of a banker. But then Cov away with Lampard, Millwall in the Cup. 3 days later, we got Watford. Then we got Sunderland at home, Sheffield United away, West Brom. Then Millwall, which is never easy. Fratton Park, which they've won 6 of the last 7 at home. And then QPR. So we've got a bit of a run here. We've got a bit of a run. And that's why maybe some of you will be like, Connor, you know, you're being negative. I'm not. I'm just looking long term, and I'm just looking at these fixtures and thinking. And this is where Gabe was speaking a little bit earlier on, and Gabe was like, "It's a must win." So in his eyes, but that's long term thinking, and it was because of the games that Sheffield United have got coming up, Burnley have got coming up, Sunderland have got easier games than what we've got. So yeah, Andy, man, dude, I don't know how you watch that every week, bro. I don't know how you watch that every week. Like that, as I said, man, it was the onus was on us to do something, and I criticise Leeds for that. But the results I've just read out, mate. Oh my god! Like how many? What is it? 8-0-0s. Man, it was woeful, woeful. Connor, Leeds and Sunderland are the best in the league. Burnley a cack. You're not going to get automatics drawing games and not scoring. Yeah, fair point, mate. We need a striker. Easy run for Burnley. Played it safe when you have Gruev and Byram instead of Rothwell and Firpo. Wanted to not lose, which is somewhat understandable. But I actually think we cannot lose and still actually win. Trying to be positive. It's all swings and roundabouts. Anything can happen in the next games. Yeah, exactly, mate. I think what I would say, guys, is, you know, these games, so like Sheffield United, it just makes me a little bit worried that he's going to start like a Byram, Gruev, Aronson, Peru sort of scenario again. Hopefully what we'll see then is Pascal's back, right? So Pascal's build up from the back is much better. We're more of a threat with Pascal. So Pascal's going to be back for that game. And hopefully then Ethan goes in the middle and we're not. I wanted Gruev in for this one. But yeah, it was startling. It was so obvious how limited we were in comparison to what happens when Rothwell's on the pitch. I don't think Rothwell's been great, but there's such a difference. Such a difference. Let's have a look. There ain't no easy games. Won't bank on what we have to play. What I will say is we've got a good run. We've got a good run at the end of the season. So like you said, man, it all swings in roundabouts. James is Farke is happy with the draws away and wins at home. And I think I agree, Jamie. I think that's what he thinks. Like that's how Farke thinks. So we've got to go with that. I think that's what it is. Do you think we deserve the penalty? No, mate. No, I don't think that was a penalty. I think we have to be fair. We'd be raging if it was the other way. I think the team will take a lot of defensive confidence coming away from that game. Good point away. Yeah. Andy says we're drab, pal, but we are limited. Drive back to Oldley Edge now. I think we'll get second. We are getting the points. That's Burnley fan Andy as well. Yeah, I think that's the thing with Burnley now. They've got a good run. They've got a good run of fixtures. And if we can't score against them, and they've had 8-0-0s, and how many 0-1s have they won as well? 0-wins. Like, you know, I've said that Sunderland throughout this. My bold take has been Sunderland for a while now. I've always said Sunderland are going to creep into that top 2, but watching them there, they just don't concede chances. Like, and we did really well. We did really, really well. But they completely negate anything. You know what I mean? And Parker's done that so well. They're so well drilled. They're not a great team. They've got limitations, but is that enough to get out of this division? Looking at them. And they've done it against Sunderland as well to an extent. But at least Sunderland had a couple of penalties, didn't they? The Saints says, Blade, I can accept Leeds tonight, but embarrassing by Burnley. But we didn't concede a single shot on target. Yeah, we didn't. And that's a positive. That is a positive. Yeah, man, mate, coming on the fan chat. We're gonna have to go now, mate. We're gonna have to go now, guys. We're gonna head on over to the fan forum right now. I need help dissecting this. I should be joined by about 4 or 5 people. Come on over. Let's have a little bit more of a chat on there. Like the video before we go out, and guys, I will see you over on the fan forum. You'll be automatically redirected now. Cheers.